Today we're starting chapter 4. This is 4.1. Example 1, we are going to talk about converting what's called DMS into decimal form. Now DMS is the same thing, and it means degrees, minutes, seconds. Now usually you don't see it in this form because usually you just see something like, maybe like 90 degrees, 90.47 degrees is generally how we would represent it. We'd use it with decimal numbers. But there are going to be some times where the authors of this book will represent it in degrees, minutes, seconds. And here's what those mean. First of all, you know that a circle is divided into 360 degrees. That's something that we've probably been pretty familiar with. The next, though, is that 1 minute is 1/60th of a degree, which is kind of nice because it's kind of like a clock then. And then a second is 1/60th of a minute, or if you go to the beginning, 1/3600 of a degree. And so we can use this information to help us figure out what each of these are in terms of decimal form. So here's how it works. There are 4 little examples here. First of all, number 1, 35 degrees, 15 minutes. The degrees part, that can just stay as it is. That's 35 degrees. There's nothing else that's really going to happen from that. But then what we do is we take those minutes and we're going to add the minutes to it. Now it's 15 minutes out of a 60 of total, which is degrees. So this is a fraction of some sort. We represent it as a fraction as 15 over 60. And then basically all that's left to do is punch that into the calculator. 15 over 60 is 0.25. So this turns out to be 35.25 degrees. Next, we move on to this one down here. Same idea with this 45 degrees, 24 minutes, is we just do 45 plus 24 over 60. Really the same process, and we get 45.4 degrees for this one. All right, now you'll notice in this 3 and 4 that we have seconds introduced into the mix here. And so it takes on basically the same thing to start with. We have 23 degrees, 30 minutes, so that's 23 plus 30 divided by 60. But then we also have to do these seconds. Now we're not going to do divided by 60 here because we want to reference it in terms of full degrees. So a second is 1/3600th of a degree. That means that we're going to do the 36 seconds, divide that by 3600 in this case. And you just punch all those in on your calculator, add them together, and the decimal number we get is 23.51 degrees. All right, one last one. Again, very similar to what we had before. We do 78 degrees plus 43 over 60 plus 11 over 3600. And if you punch that in, you should get 78.72 degrees. And that's all it takes to convert from DMS to decimal form.